Okay. So, stream is up and going. You guys who are watching. Oh, no, that part's not going yet. I'm setting that up as we speak just to make sure
Got
that.
you.
So. Display capture 100%. Now I'm trying to think if this is the. Because I wasn't quite sure if we were going to do video or if we were going to do jest. This is easy though.
Got you.
The program set up momentarily. So, for anybody watching while I set this up, we do have a special guest. And if you guys are paying attention to the group posts, then you guys should know who that special guest is. We're going to keep doing this more regularly. Actually, I'm going to start reaching out to other content creators because I see down in there. We're going to start doing little collaborations on the cast. I think that's the best way to kind of segue it in. Let's see. Director, I guess videos, cool. And I think that's all I need for the room. Okay. So yeah, guys, just bear with me for a second, and there you go. I sent you the link there. The password is your first name, and once you join in that, I will be able to rip that entire little bit and put it into the video.
All right, 1 second.
All good. Hey, Ethan, Nino, Jason, thank you guys for being here fairly early. Excellent. Copy solo link. All right. So, you guys can now see our special guest for the night. We got Eddie.
What's up, boys and girls?
And yeah, that is actually, this is going to be really exciting. It's always exciting to get new people on the cast, but it's always double exciting to get people that have like, I'm not saying not everybody has actual great takes, and also, to be fair, so far I don't think I've put anybody on the channel that hasn't had great takes, but it's just always cool to get new people on the channel, especially coming from a player who has been just getting more exposure as I've been playing. It's cool to see somebody that I remember looking at deck lists from when I was starting to be tournament competitive playing this game. So it's just kind of like, wow, how did I get here? I don't know. You guys don't know. We probably will never know. But we got Eddie on here to be a special guest, and it's going to be crazy because there's a lot to talk about with the info dump that we just got. Yep, I did just take care of the echo, I do believe. Unless you're still hearing an echo. If you're still hearing an echo, let me know and I'll take care of that. But you should know once Eddie talks again.
Yeah, you guys can hear me? Let me know what's up. You guys can hear me? I think it says I'm muted.
Yeah, because I have you coming through a Discord feed, but then I also had you coming through the room feed. So I muted the room feed, so I think it's only going to be Discord now.
Alright, I guess we'll just wait till the chat tells you if it's good to go or not, and then we could go on.
Yep, alright, he said it's great now. Excellent. So, yeah, while people are in here who are clearly subscribed, if you're commenting, I just want to say for the people that may be listening to this on their way to work or anything tomorrow, later this week, if you haven't joined the UniX fam, you probably should. We're going to be making more and more content, looking like I'm about to secure a new pad that I'm going to be able to have my own office in for this. So we're going to be doing things a lot better, a lot bigger, and just pouring a lot more effort into things. So, yeah, it's a good time to be on. We're going to be hitting a massive celebration for hitting 2,000. We're only about 70 subs off from hitting that. And the Zenkai series looks so crazy that I just cannot wait to dive in. So, yeah, I think that's probably going to be one of the first things we talk about here. However, if there's other things you guys want to talk about, be sure to put it in just the comments right there, and we will chat, and we will just get to it. But, yeah, I mean, with a special guest as cool as Eddie on, I really will let him take the floor on what topic we talk about first.
Yeah, I guess I personally would just recommend that we save Zenkai for last because, yeah, I'm weird because for me as a competitive player, I think a lot of players, especially with upcoming events such as Otakon this upcoming weekend and Gen Con the following weekend, as a competitive player, I see a lot of players fall into the trap where you guys see the first selections of cards, right, for Zenkai, and then it's like, oh snap, this is going to be the best deck coming on, not realizing that you can't use any of those cards in the next two events coming up. So like what I tend to do, I tend to like, until there's like a gap between events where the next set is going to that event, I don't even look at those cards. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah, I'll glance at them and see what they do, but I don't really. You'll never see me sleeve up cards and actually play test. If I know I'm going to, like, I'm going to Otakon this weekend, I'm not gonna play test Zenkai. I'm on Untap. I see Zenkai, I'm like, yeah, bro, I'm going to Otakon, deuces, and I just go to the next lobby. But I think I get a lot of players in trouble, especially when you play test early, man, because another thing that Bandai likes to do, they tend to save the best decks for last. It's like, you guys remember when Unison Warrior very first came out, and everyone thought, oh, Green Clash Coup was the best deck ever. And then next thing you know, the last reveals was Vijay is like, yeah, all that playtesting you're doing, it's pointless because Vijay just trashes your deck in like turn 1, turn 2. That's why I really recommend to people, do not just jump on and just, hey, this is the deck and invest all your time. Yeah, it's cool to know what they do. Go ahead and pick up some staples. Like, for instance, I think some cards are actually already getting bought out. Like, I think the Boma, the little, you know, the Playboy Boma going on with the Fest card sleeve, I think that jumped up to like $25. I think a lot of things are jumping up in prices, which makes sense. So.
Bunny Boma just jumped to 25.
The Fest ones.
I know, but
like $25.
I literally just offloaded so much from Philly because I went X1 on Gunslinger, and then I did well in the tournament. So I just I know I moved at least like 6, 7 of those, and I'm just sick.
Ooh, that's nice. Yeah, they're like 20. They jumped up to $25. A lot of cards didn't go up, man. Because if you think about it in general, I guess I'll give my thoughts on that during all that stuff. So if you guys need help, as you're going to either Gen Con or you're going to Otakon, let me know, because yeah, I was doing the actual research online. That's how I found out about I wrote about UniX posts. I'm like, oh snap, let me just jump on, because I was going through a deck list. That's what I do, like late nights when my kids are asleep. I go through deck lists. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's actually do some analysis, right? See what's being played and what cards are being played, and you dissect it. I don't try to follow the meta. I do my best to become the meta. If you guys see my deck list from this past weekend, right, there was an event. Shout out to Eric Hill, I believe. Eric won. Yeah, Eric beat Eon in the finals. I was there.
Imagine.
I made top 8. Yeah, I made top 8. I didn't go to day 2 because I drove back to Maryland. Yeah, for you guys didn't know, I am in Maryland now. So it was a 2-hour drive for me. I'm like, I'm not driving back 2 hours the next day and coming back. So I just stayed at my house and perfected my deck for Otakon. Because yeah, those who did see a slight glimpse of it before I took it down, it's not what you expected to see it out. There's no repose in a yellow deck, guys. It's when you see the list, you'd be like, bro, what was Eddie doing? But yeah, I took it down. You guys will see it again next weekend. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns for Otakon or Gen Con, I think we should start off with that, because that's more meta relevant than you asking me what I think is the best things coming out of Zenkai. Because we saw our Bardock Secret, right? Yeah, that secret is great. Don't get it twisted. That secret is great. I'm not gonna tell you that's the best secret ever when the next one reveals is gonna be something 10 times better. You see what I'm saying? It's stuff like that I don't like to really do. So
I can definitely understand that. Actually, just looking down there, you said you didn't plan. Yup, said you didn't plan on going to any events since they all required a vaccine. Weird. Last year, Gen Con didn't require this, but this year they do. I think everybody's kind of tightening up just slightly. And to be fair, I mean, you got to kind of err on the side of caution. I remember last Gen Con, day one, like going to Gen Con, I was fine. Day one, I developed a cough. Day two, I did not even show up to the second Gen Con event because I was in the bed, clutching my chest, literally dying. Like David Fash had to give one of my boys my entry for day two, and they brought it back to the hotel. Like, was that COVID? I don't know. I literally don't know. So like, I think they're just trying to err on the side of caution, really.
Yeah, I agree with that. Better to be safe than sorry. So,
but taking your lead, like if you're talking about Gen Con and Otakon because they are the fair and they are the upcoming events.
Yep.
Otakon right around the corner. Gen Con is kind of, I'm not gonna say it's a miss for me, but it's so weird that Gen Con is at the very tail end of a format. The extreme tail end of a format. Like, it's almost going to be hard not to let your mind wander, but at the same time, Gen Con should be like that finale to the Unison Warrior block, because there is not going to be a single more solved format event for this set of cards. Like, this is about to be the big one in terms of where people have arrived with every potential strategy they can use for this current card pool.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. The thing about Gen Con, I wish I was playing, but they already got me for judging. I do my best to play when I can, and that's why when you see me play, I'm like, I get super serious. I just like focus in and do my thing. But yeah, Gen Con pricing is insane, guys. Team Wars. You know your team, I believe I'm not sure if it's the first place winning team or is it's the first, second, third, and fourth. I know it's multiple though. I gotta go relook at it. I don't think you guys understand how free, like, yes, it's expensive to get in, but when I say free, the amount of price support you're getting just for entry is gonna be. Not to mention, I want to say it's first and second. I know for a fact it's first, but it extends to a certain point. I'm not sure if it's first and second, first, second, third, and fourth, but you guys all get Secret or Kai Fest stamp promos, which is absolutely insane to me. Not to mention, the top four I know for a fact get their invites. The pricing just goes on and on and on. Like, it's completely absurd. When I see it, I'm like, man, I really wish I could play, but I already committed to judging, unfortunately. But yeah, guys, take that thing serious and get your team in top cut. Because I believe those just look at the pricing, it's insane. Participation's insane, but the pricing on top of it, it's even more insane. Because events like Gen Con, it's not like, okay, cool, you go 0-2 and drop. You can start off 0-2, you can start off 0-3, and it's like top X%, and you'll still be able to get additional pricing on top of their participation items. So those events are just, you're not gonna neg, bro. Like, you can not top the event, and amount of packs you get, you're not gonna neg. I'm just being honest with you. That's just plus. So
yeah, and also, like, even if you take those early losses, try not to get in like an anti or a super tilted mindset. Like, just in Philly a month ago, I literally won my first match, lost against one of the guys I drove with on feature, lost one more time in the mirror, not seeing a single selling Gamma, and then proceeded just to win out the rest of the 6 rounds and got like 9th, I think. Yeah. So it's just really, like, you really just got to keep pushing. Like, don't tilt yourself. But no, these events are stupid, like, amounts of dumb. Like, I was stupid and did not buy into the singles event early enough, and then I saw them all blocked off, and I personally did decide that just Team Wars is not enough for me to invest going on there. And granted, that may not work out for everybody, but it worked out for me because new job offers, going through some stuff, maybe moving in the next 30 to 60 days. So I was like, all right, let me just not drop like close to 800-ish going to Gen Con when I need to get some stuff in order. But nah, like, Eddie's not wrong. This tournament is juice. There's a reason why it sold out so fast despite its entry cost being so steep.
Yeah, and I want to put a note on what Chris said. He was 100% correct, guys. I see a lot of people lose their round one and just get super tilted and proceed to do poor. I'm gonna give you an example. The last Jersey this past weekend, I lost round one. Texas, I lost round one. Before Texas, I judged Nats. After Nats, the first event I played was Tampa. I lost round one, 3 events in a row, and I ended up in top cut. Tampa, I finished top 8. Texas, I finished top 8, and then yesterday, I'm telling you, you can lose your round one, and your mindset is what's gonna make or break you. You can say, okay, cool, sit there and understand what you did, and do not let it happen again. Or you can say, oh man, my deck sucks, and then you're gonna proceed to just playing a sucky deck. When your deck didn't really suck, it's just things happen. You have to learn to improvise, adapt, and overcome. That's what's gonna make you a better player. That's what separates a lot of good players between great players. It's literally just a mindset, guys. It's not that, oh, I lost, I'm not gonna make it. I didn't think like that. Like literally, I seen people lose round one, and it's like, okay, I'm just gonna go through this. I'm like, no, I lost my round one. I said I'm gonna proceed to make top cuts. I didn't just come out here drive 2 hours for no reason. So it's all in your head, guys. Stay positive.
Indeed. Let me make sure that we haven't missed anything. Jason, we will get back to the Zenkai stuff later on, but yeah, the PAN plus GT support does look fun. I see Jason also asked, I'm playing Jiren for Gen Con online. How do you both feel that it'll do in an online environment? I know personally, I've always been kind of on a weird space with Jiren because I like Jiren's ability to be aggressive and wide, and I like how it levels up, like in terms of its board presence, but I've never liked the recovery plan of Jiren. Like sometimes I feel like you get your board wiped and you're just like, this is a financial loss I can never recover from. And that never puts me in a really safe space. But I can tell you right now that with Gamma being one of the, I'm not even gonna say best decks, but definitely one of the most played at this point, Jiren has an abysmal matchup with Gamma. I've been talking to Yuha for a little bit in one of our group chats, and he is a Jiren stan, and he has been saying that no matter how he tries to jam that matchup, it is just not felt good ever. So that's a little bit of a problem, I think. That's a problem. If you're ever sitting there being at like a negative win ratio versus one of the most represented decks, that's just maybe not something you want to slot in. Personally, that's how I feel.
Yeah, I will tell you from I have the most tops with Jiren, 100%. You could ask anyone. I'll tell you right now, as a Jiren player, I don't want to play Gamma because your floodgate to stop 13 doesn't kick in until I believe your turn 3. But then after that, once Cell hits, it's almost impossible for you to win. Like there's no, once he board wipes you, you're faced with 2 options. Either crit X amount of lives, depending on how many 5 drops you have on board, and you still have to give another card from your hand when he swings because you're not going to want to out combo that, even though you can. And then to top it off, it's like, bro, it's rough, man. It's super rough, in my opinion. Trust me, I'm the biggest Jiren fan ever. The one upside you have is how Chris was saying earlier. In my opinion, there's 2 decks that just stick out when you play. If your deck cannot compete against Gamma or Trunks, you're just automatically gonna lose. Now on the flip side, your Trunks matchup is free. Like when I say free, it's free. Like it's super free. Trunks cannot do anything to stop you. Trunks will literally sit on the Trunks. You'll use your leader ability to play something out and burn Poutine and Trunks like that, and then you'll flip the switch and then kill their Trunks in a blink of an eye. They'll die before they hit the turn 4 every single time. But with that same thing being said, when you flip the coin back again, you will die to Gamma before you hit your turn 4. And that's not a position I want to be in. It's like, it's rough, man. If Gamma just somehow phases out, maybe I can see it, but not in a format where just, yeah, I just can't see it, man. Like, yeah, it's too much of a problem. Trust me, I tried that matchup multiple times. It's too much of a, that's why I love the deck. It's too much of a problem. I still love it. It's too much of a problem.
Yeah, you don't want that. You don't want that stress of playing like a coin flip to see if you face a great matchup or a terrible matchup. That's just not a good thing. Let's see. Question for Eddie: what is this craziest situation you have witnessed while judging?
Luckily for me, players know me as both a player and a judge, but they don't really call me for crazy things. It's just to it's like clarify stuff, or like someone skipped a step. I tell them, I'm like, as a judge, if I come and answer this, I'm gonna put the hammer down if you guys can't solve it among yourselves. I'm really cool to players too, because I understand it from a player's perspective and from a judging perspective. So the craziest thing I've ever saw, it'd probably be at Nats, honestly. I'm not gonna say the names, but then 2 players were playing, and then they were trying to argue about what turn it was when time was called. And in a situation like that, I highly advise that you do not lie, because the chances of people that are watching your game when time was called and now you're lying, and now the judges have to call people who are watching the game over to see who's lying or not, will land you in a DQ and probably get you like more action that you don't want to face. So just always be honest with that. If you don't know, be honest and say you don't know. Don't say factual things that are not true, and just be cool with your phone. Like I've never had a problem playing or judging, honestly speaking. Other judges may not be able to say that, but for me personally, I've never had like a crazy thing. It's simple questions. I'm like, okay, cool. And I just answer from there. I keep it going on. So
Since Eddie didn't have exactly a crazy moment, I got a little bonus story for you. I was judging Yu-Gi-Oh! Like actually like probably at this point a little bit over 10 years ago, and this dude literally hit the MST on an activated trap, and you know the classic like Yu-Gi noob move, and he goes,
MST negates.
yeah, MST negates, and the guy's like, no, it doesn't. I've already activated my trap card, and he goes, okay, well, I think we need to call a judge. And the guy's like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah. So like, I get the judge call, I come over, and he's like, does it work this way? And I was like, well, you activated the trap card, and then you chained MST. The trap card is already on like the chain. MST will destroy it, then the trap card that's already activated will resolve. The guy gets his effect. And then as I'm walking away, the dude who was on the side of the trap resolution was like, thanks, Chris. And I just knew it. The moment that dude called me Chris instead of judge, I was like, shit. And the guy's like, I'd like to appeal to the head judge. Because you know him, obviously. And I'm like, no, bro, it's MST on a trap. Like, you don't need the head judge for this. And this dude, like, just sat there and caused the massivest stink. So, like, be real. Like, yeah, most people won't care. But I will never call a judge for the most part. I'll be like, judge, but I won't be like, hey, yo, thanks, Eddie, for the ruling, though. Like, I will just not, because that situation scarred me. This dude really called head judge over MST on a trap just because he thought I was colluding with his opponent. I was like, dog, why though? Let's see. Just one says, I've never been out to Otakon. How's the con environment? Honestly, if you're playing in the tournament, you probably won't see the con environment. Last time I went to the first Otakon, and I got in there. My girlfriend at the time was like, you're gonna be so mad if you don't play, so you might as well play. And I was like, we came to the con to like see the con, I don't want to do that. And she was like, you're gonna be mad. So I played it, and luckily I did get to top 8. I just scooped in top 8 because she had been sitting there all day and I felt like really awful for it. But chances are, unless they make it, is it best of 1? Is Otakon best of 1?
I can tell you right now, if you're playing Dragon Ball and you plan on playing throughout the entirety, you're not going to enjoy it. The best way I can compare Otakon is going to be very similar to the 2NA Games convention in Philly. It's going to be 9 rounds, and it's going to be back to back to back to back to back to back to back, because we're not going to try to be there all day. It's going to be 31-minute rounds. So once the round is over, it'll be like a minute break, and you're on to the next one. So you're not going to enjoy the con if you're planning on playing Dragon Ball tournament for the entirety of it, which I highly recommend you do, because it's going to be super easy to get top 32, and top 32 is going to get I think it's the Turtles extra card, the Forbidden Fruit or Forbidden Power.
Forbidden Power, yeah.
Forbidden Power, yeah, Forbidden Power, which is going to be money, man. You're going to be this is going to be the second event, which is available. I think Canadians had it first. This is going to be the first one for the States. So I highly recommend that you stay through, because top 32, it's going to be like X3s, let me not say. It's going to be 100% guaranteed X3s. I'm not going to say X4s. You're like, Eddie, you told me X4s get in. But 100% X3s will be in the top 32 slot. So stay there and get experience and get a nice free prize card, man.
So yeah, I mean, no, he's 100% right, but you won't be really experiencing the con. If you were going over there though, I can tell you Otakon is pretty tame, mainly because Otakon doesn't have an apartment. I'm a con goer. I used to go to cons all the time. Otakon doesn't have a hotel that's attached to the convention, so all the parties that you may want to go to are happening in people's hotels around there, meaning you need like an invite. So Otakon itself is pretty cool. You'll have all the merchant shops. You'll have the halls where you can see voice actors. You can see animators, depending on things. You'll have a lot of cool merch and stuff you can find. Cosplayers will be everywhere. But at the end of the day, the con experience will be the con experience. And unless you get invited or you already know somebody who's throwing stuff, that's it for you. If you want to rager, go to MagFest. That's all I gotta say. MagFest is a completely different story. It's a 24-hour convention. It happens in the same area, like Maryland instead of DC though, and it's 4 days. You get sick after going to MagFest if you've gone hard enough. Like, it's just really wild. But yeah, if you're going to the tournament, your Otakon is just the backdrop for your tournament. I see a beer. I'm going to Gen Con. Never been to the US. Really hyped. Any survival tips? Bro, if you've got an accent that sounds remotely not American, you are officially royalty. You will be fine. I don't know what else there is about that. I mean, you're in a nice place too, and Indy is a pretty nice place. Like, if you're in like, I don't know, like Chicago or like Detroit, I'd be like, don't speak. Like the moment they know you're a tourist, that's Gucci. That's game. That's a O2 clap. But yeah, you're in Indy. Indy will be a good time. Last time it was great. There's plenty of places to eat, plenty of places to chill around at. Really, there's not really any survival tips. Just go have fun, bro. And especially with Gen Con, a mistake I made last time because I was so sick. There's a lot of stuff to farm at Gen Con. Like between your matches. Last time you could go over and go to this like one place where they're doing like Post Malone special edition cards.
Yeah, the eBay. It was the eBay booth.
Yeah, and you could just like go in there on a raffle, get like a Post Malone Lugia or a Post Malone Charizard, and there are people outside the line waiting to buy that crap for 200, 300 on site. Like the amount of plussing you can do if you just tiptoe around Gen Con while you are in between rounds. Or even if you felt like, wow, I'm like X4, there's no way I can do anything anymore, and you just play like, look, just go out and be a little diligent, you'll plus. There's no way to neg if you go to Gen Con. You just have to hit that investment wall first. Let's see. He said, hold up, let me see what chats I'm missing. You got a question, Eddie? What are some rogue decks you think are being very underrepresented? Wow, I can't read. Underrepresented. Or possibly could do well that people just aren't on right now.
Black decks. Perfect example of this past weekend, top 8. He finished second in Swiss, was Reboot by saying. Black decks, yes, they're not as OP as they once were, but because they're fair now, players choose not to play them. But guys, don't forget, black's fair is a lot of yellow's best. Like you see what I'm saying? Because the definition of black and fair to me is paying an energy. Those effects are still broken. It's just not free energy. So now that you have to pay an energy, you just have to, like, in my opinion, evaluate whether it's worth leaving the color to go pay an energy something else. Everyone else plays energy. Your only one that can get away with it is maybe blue because of bean, but any other color is the same thing. They pay one energy. The only thing you're lacking is a free counterplay, which in my opinion, if you're playing black and you have a Unison, you should be playing the Sin extra card. That is your free counterplay, especially pro tip against yellow Trunks that's running around rampant. They swing. They try to live their famous, I'm gonna swing a Vegeta to be cute just to combo off my Trunks. Deuces that to that Vegeta, bro. That Vegeta is gone. It's like, whoa, what is happening? Like, you see what I'm saying? It's stuff like that people don't expect because it's like, man, I can't free play a 30k anymore. Like, bro, if it's worth tapping one to come out with a 16k blocker that warps a vital piece that Trunks needs in order to awaken and do their stuff, it's good. If you can pay one on your turn one, because your opponent went turn 0, on your turn 1 to play authority and swing at a spaceship to take out 2 markers, and then use your leader to swing and take out that 3rd marker, now their spaceship is gone. It's stuff like that. I don't think people really see the advantages of it. They just don't like the fact that you have to pay energy, but they don't realize that in every other deck besides, I think, Gamma, and if you play, I guess, yellow blue Trunks, you're paying energy too. Like, it's the same thing. Just evaluate which decks are worth it, in my opinion. So I hope I answered your question.
No, I mean that sounds like pretty much all encompassing. I mean, Chris, I had this like conversation actually with a person in one of the chats I'm in. I personally, it's kind of weird because now that we're on the topic of like meta versus rogue, there are some people that will, in any card game, that will always shy away from the meta simply because it's just whatever. Like, you want to hate on what everybody else is playing. My personal opinion is that if a deck is not part of the meta, it's only not part of the meta for 2 reasons. Either exposure, or there are reasons why it is not making the most consistent yield across the board. And a lot of the times I think it's going to be the latter over the former. Now, sometimes it is true. There are just decks that have not been played enough, whether there are not enough events, whether the promos that are needed for it are not in high circulation, but some decks aren't exposed enough to become meta. But I truly do believe that if a rogue deck has the level of consistency and power and utility needed to be part of the meta, it's only a matter of time. No great deck will stay rogue forever, in my opinion. But when it comes to decks that are underrated right now, I think that almost any deck that isn't currently in the limelight has to suffer a massive hole somewhere. Like, we were just talking about Jiren. The fact that Jiren can floor Trunks Vegeta is not something to be ignored whatsoever. the fact that Jiren gets floored by Gamma is definitely a reason why you wouldn't sleeve it up and put it on. So Jiren can be rogue, but there's a glaring reason why it sits at rogue. And I think that there are just, I don't think any deck that currently isn't in that top contender slot is safe right now. That's my only thing.
If you want a sleeper pick for me, it's not a sleeper pick for me. It's legit. I was gonna play it this weekend and at what's his face in New Jersey, but someone forgot to bring my cards from PPG. I'm not gonna say his name. I still love him. He's let me build a Trunks deck. Yeah, the deck I was gonna play was set 17 Yellow Goku. I think that deck is straight up snap. But players see it and they're like, well, it's not cool where I get to combo off all my pieces, like all my Unison pieces. If you were to play that deck, you'll see why it's not fair if you could combo your Unison pieces. And I'm just gonna leave it at that because I'm not gonna get into that deck until I play it. But just know that deck is not bad. And a lot of people think it's bad until they play it, and it's like, what just happened to you? I'm like, oh yeah, you're dead, dude. That's what just happened. So
yeah, no, the deck is actually nice. Like, you guys should know that when I'm going through new sets, I always not only do coverage for the cards, but I also like taking skeleton lists that I make myself after kind of sitting down with the cards, and then I'll go through like the first couple turns as a solitaire play, just to show you like the bread and butter. And one of the things I realized early on was that I think Goku versus Cooler, I think Cooler has a lot of cards that are worded better. And by better, I mean they're a little easier to use and they're a little more streamlined. I think Goku has a much higher ceiling. However, Goku is just going to be a little and maybe a lot more intensive on the deck building side and the sequencing side. Like, there are times where Cooler is going to +1 by just doing what it's doing. But Goku could hit a +2 in that situation, but the sequencing, the exact cards needed are going to be different. You will need to go from a Vegeta to a Piccolo. And yes, you will plus an additional card, but it's going to take a little bit more to get there than Cooler. And I think that discouraged a lot of people because RNG is a thing. There are going to be times where you can open up 3 Piccolos and be like, you don't have your Vegeta, or you buy, like, hopefully you don't in a crucial moment, but you whiff your top cards somehow, even though you built your deck to be saturated with Unisons. There's a thing, but I think Goku is a little slept on. Dripku definitely has the Dread outfit, and I think he's there. And also Yellow's defensive suite, just like, I've said it for a while now, as a Yellow deck, you don't ever have to worry about defense. You need to worry about how you're pushing game, because Yellow's core will get you on defense. Like, you just need to figure out how you are getting your opponent to 0 life. If you got that down, Yellow will be the color it needs to be for you.
I'm gonna say one more note on that. You guys see a lot of Trunks players playing the Gohan Unison in their Trunks list. Imagine it doesn't even do half the things it does in original Goku list. Imagine playing that Unison and the actual deck it goes, and that's what I'm gonna leave it at, just like that.
It's beautiful. Imagine a board wipe through barrier. Imagine for 3 energy. Like that card is insane. Yeah. Like, I already have my playset. You guys already know I'm a Gohan fan. Just literally look at my wall behind me. You got Super Saiyan 2. You got Adult Gohan. Shout outs to the lovely lady that got me that for my birthday. So you have this thing. Let's see what's this next part. Beer said he's got a bit of dilemma. He's gotten 2 top 4s now with U7, 4th at Anime North last weekend with 3rd with Carter Webb. It's like, but going into Gen Con, you don't know what to play. Everyone I speak with suggested I play U7. Honestly, U7 for energy paid, I think it has the most bang for your buck. My issue with Universe 7 is it is so linear. I can look at your energy and essentially count your plays. And I don't like many decks. Like, any deck that can be seen coming to still be strong enough to be played, I think needs to hit like a freight train. Like, it needs to be to the point where it's like, I don't care if you know what I'm about to play. Can you stop it? Like, and I don't think U7 Goku is quite there. So if you had some magic in the bag, some like text that would blow everybody's mind, and I think in this game we have so many grinders and untapped grinders that it's kind of hard to like pull out the blicky on somebody like that. Like, generally somebody has seen the text, the wild off the walls text, but like Goku is just in a weird space. I know playing Gamma, the first couple turns, I'm just taking chip damage. I'm not really trying to take my own life. If you put something threatening on board, like a critical, okay, we're using Realm of the Gods to get out of it, things like that. Then I just need to have Dirty Burst for your turns 5, 6, and 7, because realistically, you're not tapping out on 4. That's the way to get instantaneously killed. You will still get dirty bursted, and then you will get like domed the next turn. So realistically, there's nothing in that deck that's happening that I'm shocked with. And so I'm like, you know what? If you take U7 Goku, I don't think you're gonna do bad with it. But I think there will be some times where you just get to a player that's just like, okay, your turn 3, a Unison, cool. Awaken, cool. I'm gonna smoke that Unison. Turn 4, your bomb, didn't have even get to turn sideways. I'm good. All right, cool. Turn 5, you're in my domain now. So I think that's a little scary, especially with Gamma being a popular deck list. I do not fear red decks. They all have to play into bombs that can be dirty bursted, and their early game all kind of gets cut off by a well-placed Sensu with maybe Realm of the Gods thrown in. So I do kind of think that U7, while it's very strong, if you're trying to take it to the top, it may not be your best choice, personally. What are your thoughts on it, Eddie?
It's the same but different at the same time. It's the same because you stated a very popular mistake, but once again, players, it's not just for U7. I think it's for the game in general. Players tend to look at a deck profile and then just make it the default skeleton deck profile, which is cool at times, but certain times it's not cool. And U7 is a perfect example, because the issue with U7, in my opinion, the reason why it's been suffering recently is because everyone and their mama's mama knows that on turn 3 you're going to tap out on 3 for Unison. If I'm playing U7, I'm not tapping on 3 for Unison. Every single one of my turns, starting from turn 1, whether you decide to go with the Scion package, which I think is insane. Like U7, the faster you can bring your opponent down to 4, the more difficult it gets for your opponent. Because now when you tap out for a bomb, your answers literally have to be answered. Versus if you're going on turn 3, where your turn 1 was just a go on, your turn 2 is a freeze to Goku. Okay, cool. I'm at 6 or I'm at 4 and I'll never lose another life. And your turn 3 is a Unison, which is gonna do absolutely nothing, is what gets you in trouble. But now if you switch your plays up, like for instance, if your turn 1's a Scion and you're swinging, your opponent's gonna be at 4 to 5. Realistically speaking, they're gonna be at 5 because they're not gonna want to go to 4 after your first swing, leaving them vulnerable to on your turn 2, hitting them with a 17 with a super combo, which is not double strike. It's plays like that. Like if you guys get out of the skeleton mindset, you would be able to expand decks. But if you're still stuck in a skeleton mindset, it's gonna be like what Chris said. You're gonna go to turn 3 and play your Unison because it's the best Unison in the game, right? I'm gonna do that and play Vidal. Wow, okay, cool. Gamma's gonna laugh at you because Gamma's gonna be like, pop, pop, pop. Yeah, you're dead next turn. It's plain and simple like that. Oh, you're gonna guess what? Now because you tapped 3 and you fell behind, you have to tap 4 to board wipe. Guess what I'm gonna do to you? Dirty burst, and now you're gonna pass your turn. You're gonna be stuck in a game where it's like you can't come back from because you're trying to follow a skeleton that may have worked in the past, but that's because maybe Gamma wasn't relevant in the past. That's because maybe the decks that you're sitting across wasn't relevant in the past. It's stuff like that. I do believe U7 is criminally underplayed, but it's how Chris said. If you guys once again are basing off the skeleton, it's gonna be continue to be to suffer, and it's going to be continually answered when you tap out for big bombs, which you really shouldn't be tapping out for, if that makes sense. One last thing, play 4 Quetzalcoatls in your U7 list, guys. Stop getting caught against a repose or Android 14 without punishing the player. I'm gonna leave it at that.
No, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. Koitsukai is like annoying. Like anytime as a Gamma player I get Koitsukai, I'm like, oh, I actually have to use cards in my hand. Like I'd be getting mad. Like,
and it's not just Gamma, it's Riposte. Like I don't know why people are playing it at 2, but that thing is a staple 4 in my opinion. You see it in hand, you pitch it with your leader. You pitch it off your mill. It's not like, okay, this is a live card that. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like U7 to me, if I'm playing 100% 4. Blocker negates, warp 2. Yeah, you play a topo, you play anything that comes down, warp. You pay the card, the cost, and warp 2 more plus the energy. I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's move on.
I Koitsukai somebody, apply pressure, but most certainly, one thing I do see people doing every now and then: do not Koitsukai your opponent and then not have a follow-up play. Like if you Koitsukai and your best play was Golden Frieza and Leader Sling, I'm just like, bro, what did you just do? Like why are you out here wasting cards? You should have just played the Golden Frieza and the Leader Sling and just waited for the Koitsukai for a turn that's gonna matter. Like, so there's just things. Let's see. So I agree with their logic. I also want a meme. Restraint is key. Restraint is key. It's like nice. So Gen Con is going to be hype. Gen Con is definitely going to be hype. I wish I was still going, but like it's just not. It's currently not what's up for me. You see, Gabriel says, why does Bandai hate Invoker? Bandai does not hate Invoker. And I actually see yup right under there. Bandai does not hate Invoker. Thank you, sir. They just can't make any support without it being busted. I'm going to just kind of put it out there. It's not that they can't make support without it being busted. I think that the testing department is low-key criminally like out of pocket. There are things like 17 should not have ever been 1 cost. 17 at 3 cost kind of feels bad, I will admit, but at the same time, it's a Vegeta that you can't wipe off the board. And so even at 3, I think that it does what it needs to do in a very uninteractable way. If it was at 2, even that may be weird, but I think lots of people have to understand that Invoker is a red-blue deck, and blue will always have an energy economy that no other color has. If you guys want to take this shameless plug, I did my color theory about this like earlier, well, I guess late last year, where I went through every color and talked about their color identity. Blue has always had this weird trend of overcosted threats and weird boss monsters. And the only reason why it has that is because the game understands, the devs understand that blue's tap 5 is not red's tap 5. It's not yellow's tap 5. Blue's tap 5 will see 2 of those energy come back by the time your turn gets around. And so they can't put the same amount of power level on those cards. So a 1 cost in a deck that has the ability to use Sensu, to use Beerus super combo, to use D-Magic, it's a bit much. So I think testing is a valid, really needed part of this game. And I really hope that at some point Bandai starts doing the MTG route, pulling a certain amount of players that they feel like they can trust, hitting them with NDAs, and letting them test things before they get the gate. Because Bandai devs are making sure things work. And yes, they do kind of look out for brokenness. I see the current direction of things they're going with the boss monsters. But I think that players are often looking to break the game, and you need that insight to avoid certain things. Because we will be looking 8 sets back for an interaction that you didn't see was possible. But yeah, your thoughts?
100%. I think you hit that one perfect. I'm not gonna lie.
Sweet. Let's see. Best black leader currently. I mean, it's kind of wild, but like, it's gonna be weird in my opinion because I don't think anybody really shares this. But like, black leaders are like Eddie said before. Black leaders aren't just off the cuff busted anymore, but they're still black leaders. Like, I don't think people understand that. As long as you find a consistent black unison, SSG Trunks is actually a magnificent leader. He filters for playing good black cards. Like let's face it. You can get rid of all of the Dark Empire and just be left with the Gokus, the Vegetas, the Trunkses, and you're still left with good black cards. So this guy's gonna filter. He has a removal attached to his leader. Don't sleep on Vegex because it doesn't matter how hard they hit. Vegex is the cockroach of the DBS community. No matter how many nukes it gets hit with, it just gets up and just like keeps scuttling. Like, it's still a great leader. Even Dark Broly can put it in work. I just sometimes think that depending on the format, Dark Broly can be a little harder to defend yourself with. But especially with the format slowing down the way it has, you have a lot more spaces to pay 1 energy for a come into play effect 30k beater. You have a lot more space to do that than you did when the actual errata happened. So I personally think that you have a plethora of black leaders that you can play from. Like, it's not even close. And I don't even get into the fact that Poutine in the right decks, like Toa, I'll say this a bunch of times. Toa may have some startup issues. Toa may have some detrimental game states if you curve them early on. But if you let Toa snowball, that deck is oppressive. Like, if you just don't see ways to remove 2 Poutines and they're just making tokens, they're drawing a combined total of 6 cards per round turn, and you just feel like a dummy. So yeah, black is not sitting here just twiddling its thumbs. It's the player base who's afraid to play black right now.
100% agreed. I think the only 2 decks that you didn't mention, which once again I don't know, it's because probably you have to tap energy for it. But these 2 specific leaders, you don't really have to tap energy for it, as I'm about to mention, is Reboot Mass Saiyan, and it's the Vegeta holding his 1-eye Mass Saiyan, that guy, to get your, because right now, in my opinion, man, players should just sit back and look at the meta. It's like I said, it's what I was doing before I found out about this post. I was just looking at the meta, looking at all the top decks that got there, the majority of it, I think the majority of it was 6 trunks. So 6 trunks, and I think the next one was two gammas and 2 GTs. If you look at it, all of that, what do all of those 3 decks have in common? It's like ding ding ding. You can start hitting bells and stuff. Like, okay, cool. Number one, trunks, gamma, GT. Guess what? They all have floodgates. Two of the trunks and gamma, Quetzalcoatl. What's the best thing in Quetzalcoatl you could do is black. So black man sandwich mills 3, and the other one holding his eye is even better because that guy, you get to grab your actual blockers back from the drop. You get to grab your secret, back from the drop, and you play like that. So yeah, I don't like really giving out answers to a test because I work hard to study for my test. I'll give you guys insights of things that people just aren't really looking at. Like tomorrow, you guys are gonna see my deck profile for trunks. I guarantee it to you. You're gonna think I'm trolling. You're like, this is not what he played at the event. I ran no repose. I ran no Krillin super combos. I ran nothing. You're gonna see like it's something that's completely different. And you're like, how did he talk with this? And I'm telling you right now, it's the homework and it's the studying I do that gets me prepared. I don't just look at skeletons. I'm not gonna say don't look at skeletons. You look at it to see what players are playing, but don't copy and paste because if I won with my trunks deck, guess what's gonna happen at the next event at Otakon? They're gonna say, okay, cool, this is what he's playing. I'm going to counter react it and play this to stop it. That's how you guys should be thinking. But you guys should also be doing that with a viable leader because people take it to the extreme and say, I'm gonna do what Eddie's saying, but I'm gonna go play set 2 cell instead of the new reboot cell. Like, bro, what are you doing? I didn't say take it that far, but at the same time, exactly. Like, understand the meta, understand that sometimes the skeleton is it's busted, but you can always add to something. You see what I'm saying? Like, don't just take it by default and think that's just the way it's played. And that's a perfect example I give you. Eric won with launch, dude. Like, why did he win with launch? He probably saw, okay, cool, Trunks is going to be everywhere. Guess what Trunks struggles against? Red, blue, cooler, all that good stuff that mills through barrier. So, hey, if you attack your turn 1 and you have your Vegeta out because you forgot how launch works and he combos out of Beerus and brings out cooler, you just lost your Vegeta and Trunks. Now you got to hope to God you find another one or else you're not going to awaken. And now you have to defend a 20k double strike to the dome. You see what I'm saying? So it's stuff like that which you actually have to just get in there and just figure out versus just, hey, this one last week, I'm going to play it.
Yeah, and it's evolution versus innovation versus evolution. That's always the big thing. Lots of people are always on the forefront of innovation. You want to find what's new. You want to find what's not played yet. But I think a lot of people do underestimate that sometimes it's not like, yes, you're going to get props for coming out with something that people haven't seen before. But there's nothing wrong with taking what people have seen before, taking it to the next level. I used to be an anti-meta chaser when it came to Yu-Gi-Oh! And then it got to the point where I realized the best decks and the best cards are that way because they're proven. What can prove yourself further as a player is standing out amongst all the players that are playing this deck. I played Gamma when lots of people were on the fence about whether Gamma was great or Gamma was gimmicky. And after I got that top in Philly, I didn't put down Gamma. I was going to play Gamma in Otakon, but I started working on the mirror match. I started working on my Trunks Vegeta matchup. I put out my video, and in that video, since I'm no longer going to Gen Con, I'm not going to Otakon, I broke down how I feel you dissect the Gamma mirror, because that's what I was focusing on. It just became innovation after, or it became evolution after innovation. Yeah. So I think that's like a huge point. And then also when it comes to, I was like listening to the not reposting the deck, sometimes part of evolution is realizing the state of the meta and what you can and cannot get away with. Back at Gen Con, when I talked with Gohan, I was playing Gohan, my roommate Nick was playing Vegeta. And Amani told us really early on that there is so much Topo hate, because Topo was just that dude back then, that for the most part, you're gonna see people play around Topo because they have no choice. But what happens when you just free up 3 to 4 spaces in your deck? Because you know people are going to be playing around Topo anyway. And now you have 3 more spaces that that have to be Topo. And that's what we did. Nick and I did not run Topo. We sided Topo in case we ran up against decks that could not hurt it. And it worked perfectly. Like, it was just funny stuff like that. So yeah, there's a whole lot to unpack. That's a whole nother podcast / video on its own, yo.
Yeah, that Topo example is a perfect example of just metagaming and doing your homework, because if you think of it, your opponent's playing around cards that you don't have. Just like Chris said, they're playing around Topo that you really don't have, and now they're holding on to bad cards in their hand. So now after he wins game 1, they're like, okay, cool, I'm gonna take these guys out because he doesn't have Topo. Now he hits you the Topo game 2. It's like, bro, what just happened, bro? Like, you see what I'm saying? It's stuff like that that gives you the edge, and all you need is just the edge to win game 1, and it's over. So.
I feel you. Let's see about this. We got that. Speaking of Goku, not sure if you saw, but you did get the playmat today. Oh, sorry, Brandon. Brandel, sorry. Like, I gotta be real with you, because my Facebook messages are full of my friends and family, but now because I advertise via my Facebook, they're generally filled with DMs from the Dragon Ball community too. There are things that just get lost. Like, if I respond to you quickly, it's because I was directly looking at my phone when you messaged me, and I was like, oh, let me just hit that. But yeah, like, there are a lot of times where these messages are just slipping and sliding. So I'm glad you got your mat. Glad they got to you. Gabriel, you said yellow is OP. I think yellow is fine where it's at right now. I don't think yellow is as OP as it was. And it's only kind of a matter of time, I think, because I think that lots of the yellow cards, I've complained about this on the Super Combo podcast with George. So many of the yellow cards cantrip. And cantripping is good to float your deck, but that only comes together when you have a leader that starts plussing. Icarus was able to plus hard, and that allowed your cantrips to float through your entire deck. You were no longer just 1-for-1ing, you were 1-for-1ing, and your leader was +1ing, +2ing. And so that became an issue. I think yellow without a leader that can go +2 is a very, very solid space right now. You just have to actually put pressure on it, because with all these floating cards and the occasional +1s, you don't pressure yellow, their hand is going to build, and it's going to look like an insurmountable wall. You pressure yellow, and they have to start actually, I don't know, using advantage to stop you from getting in their cheeks, and that's just kind of the place to be. Let's see, Chris, Gohan from Superhero, the God Rare, he has to be. It's him or MUI Goku. I don't think they're printing another MUI Goku. It's a little early for that. Like, I think they're gonna press the MUI Goku button a couple times, but I'm not sure if we're getting another TOP set anytime soon. It's been a lot. As for Superhero, I am not quite sure, because I'm gonna be real, I'm not gonna spoil what's going on, but if this set, I think it's next set that not Dawn of Legend, but I think it's the set after that that's gonna focus heavily on the movie. Like, we got Gamma and Ultimate Squad. It looks like we got a Piccolo with this, but if you guys noticed, Piccolo, he's missing a form. If you know, you know. And so I think that if this set was going to focus on the movie, there's no shot the actual set art wouldn't have included new forms for 2 particular characters. So I would not bank on Gohan being the God Rare. But if he was, I'd be sad, because I would have to just shell out a brick on that one. You have nice text for U7. I'm glad about that. You have been one of the early ones. Like, you were the first person I interviewed for a top for U7. And it was very early on. So I understand that you're not copying a wave. You're more just trying to, like, you're on the innovation part. I didn't mean to say that you were copying a skeleton. It's just, like, the way that U7's set up, you need to branch out from that. So I'm sure you can do that. Let's see. I'm behind on so many comments. I am so sorry. Pac-Man, it's good to see you. Thank you for joining. Yes, that is why Eddie's list would not load up today, because he took it down. He had to keep the spice. Yeah. Spice in the spice rack.
Tomorrow.
Let's see. Mechagabora is nice. I think Mechagabora is
we forgot about that.
Yeah, it's a good deck. I think it still actually surprisingly sits in the realm of a lot of people have to read most of its cards. And when you have to read most of a deck's cards, you're already in a position to get domed. But on top of a lot of people having to figure out what Mechagabora does, it does have some legs. It can play the Poutine package. The leader has a very nice ultimate effect. And then it's a black deck, so you can be synergistic with a lot of random cards. And there's no way around it. It sucks when you have a board set up. Like, it happened to me at Philly. He had a board that I could not sell. I was missing a sell. But then he, on top of that board, played Dark Banisher and the Kai's Secret Rare. And I was like, I thought I was just like dead. So no, that works. Did you have anything to say about Mechagabora? Because I think you're more experienced with that deck than I am.
It's a solid deck. I forgot. I'm sorry to everyone who plays it. It's also a really solid deck. If you can ult your leader for a triple strike, or triple attack, all having that Fu on board, it's gonna get real game breaking real quick. Like it's really solid deck. I forgot to mention for black. I just like to focus on black sand leaders because even though Mechanical is as good as it is, I like to tax my opponent while playing the game. That's why I like to play decks like that I do play.
Feel it. Let's see. Oh, Half-Eaten Kraken says, well, just came in just in time to see the chat talking about Mechie. Yes, you did. Rising Phoenix Odyssey said, yo, hope you didn't miss too much. If you did, this is going up as a video tomorrow, so you'll have a chance to put it in the background. Be real about that one. Gabriel said they should have routed the Trunks Yellow Leader to pay 1 yellow energy to play Trunks or Vegeta. Nah. I think it's actually fine where it is. Like, for real, Trunks Vegeta is a strong deck, but remember, when it came out, it was one of the better yellow decks. Like, it was just sin in itself, but it wasn't even, like, too busted. Like, it was only taking up 1 to 2 slots out of any, like, top 16. The format is in a better position for it to ball, and I think that's fine. Like I said, the deck only makes a mountain of cards if you don't pressure it. Now, granted, yellow has a lot of Floodgate-esque effects. Like, you're getting 2 for 1 very often. You're getting a card tapped by Steadfast, another attack blocked by Steadfast. You're getting riposted, negated, and then everything gets taxed. But there are ways to play around yellow cards, and generally you'll find that if you stop the first negate, like if you stop the riposte, generally they're gonna have to like really put in some legwork to stop the rest of your swings. So it really just becomes about having your deck optimized to get through that first Floodgate / tax effect and then continue to push. And I get it, not every deck does that. If you're only putting a strong double striker on board per turn, then yeah, yellow is going to be able to mise you for like most of the game. But most decks are going wide. Gamma goes wide, GT goes wide, U7 has a chance of going wide. There's just a lot of stuff like that. Let's see, Trunks back hurts Karen yellow competitively. I think so. Cat, why you like this? But yeah, I mean, it kind of does. Yup is saying the secret rare will probably be based off the movies. Okay, so I will say this right now. You have Gohan and Piccolo as a set secret rare from last set. Notice that everything in that card was already in a trailer. It just was. The yellow Piccolo, his new like yellowish form, and then Ultimate Gohan, all seen in trailers. Now, I play Dragon Ball Legends, I played Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. There is a weird behind-the-scenes embargo of the penultimate like forms and characters for that movie. And what I mean by that is, outside of Dragon Ball Heroes, which normally gets everything first, like Dragon Ball Heroes is how we knew what Broly's power was, like full power Super Saiyan. It's where we got Jiren's top end. It's where we got the name for Master Ultra Instinct. Dragon Ball Heroes in Japan is just now getting cards that reflect the final forms of certain characters. And things like Dokkan, like to put it in perspective, Legends, the first night that Broly came out, the movie, we had a Broly unit in game that transformed from Super Saiyan to full power Super Saiyan. We don't have anything like that in Legends or Dokkan. So I think that since Toei kind of has the rights to all that, I think they're all going to start dropping around the same time. We don't even have news for anything of those games getting those things. So I highly doubt that Dragon Ball Super, the card game, is going to be the first outside of Heroes media to get those things. And you also have to know that they print their stuff about 5-6 months ahead. That's what I've gotten from the timetables of when they put like the placeholder images on sets versus when we actually get the news. They know what they're about to do about 5-6 months ahead of time. And with the delay that happened to the movie, I just don't think that was with this set. But if I'm wrong, literally comment on my page, and I will give you the biggest shout out. For real, for real. What do you think of the anniversary secret rare reprints? Hyper Evolution and Broly seem like a miss when Kai needs a reprint. I do think Hyper Evolution and Broly are kind of misses, but one thing, from a collector standpoint, Broly is a chef's kiss. That card was hard to find, and it was expensive as hell. Like, it doesn't even do anything right now, and that card is like, it was like, what, $400 around there? It was gross. Hatch, I think we all saw Hatch coming. Hatch is Blue's de facto secret rare. It needed to be reprinted. I just don't think they would reprint Kai, because why would they reprint Kai when Kai is like the driving force for topping any event right now? Like any premier event. I don't know what you think about that, Eddie, but
I think eventually, let me see, what was it? Hatch, Broly, and who else was it?
It was a SS set.
The SS4?
Yeah, set 3 SS4.
I don't know. The thing about these choices, right? You have to realize choices for these cards have been made like months and months ago. So it's stuff that we asked for back then that is just now getting around to the corner. We were asking for Hatch for the longest. So I think Hatch was a hit. I think they're getting 2 prints, aren't they? It's like the alternate art and the other alternate. It's like 2 alternate arts, right?
Any box
Like one with like the deluxe. Yep. So I think Hatch was a hit. Broly, it's like what Chris said from our collector's perspective. I think was also a hit because that thing was impossible to get. Like unless you just had Ash just sitting around, yeah, you're not getting that card. And the SS4, we probably don't realize it, but back then when GT was preview, we were probably like, hey, we want SS4, we want SS4. So Bandai's like, hey, I'll give him SS4. But like GT is not really being played, this and that. So now we have it. It's like, well, this is what you guys asked for. I know for a fact that everyone wanted Hatch and everyone wanted the Broly. Those are 2 ones that people wanted because when the SS4 Vegeta was announced with the Cell reprint, people loved the Cell, but they hated the SS4 Vegeta and they wanted the Broly. So now we have Broly. Now we have Hatch. And I'm pretty sure that's why we have SS4 because people wanted SS4 as well. So they give us what we asked for. It may not be the time frame we asked it for, like how we have infinite Zarbons and Trunks and all this stuff. But they give us what we asked for. They really do. That's one thing you cannot say about the game. So
yeah, it is.
But it is.
No, it definitely is. A lot of people make fun of the Trunkses being constantly reprinted, but that is something
did vote for those things
over and over and over again.
Yep.
It just, I don't know. It just takes. We vote for it, then another couple months passes by, then they print it, and then 6 months pass by, and then it comes out, and you're like, why would you do this? So I mean, it kind of do be like that. I see Yep saying, oh, you're saying the old movies? Okay, and you said Kai just got a fest. Yeah, Kai got a Festant reprint. I get you. Yep. Sorry, I misunderstood your comment. Let's see. Going into the Z block, cards that mess with energy combo phase or enemy combo phase like Bardock and Green Hero stuff is solid. I do think those are going to be cool, but the thing about Z energy is, if I'm not mistaken, you choose what to charge from your combo phase at the end of the combo phase. So if somebody's playing Bardock Parental Unison, you just combo with 2 cards. And you will be able to choose one of them and put them into your Z energy. The other thing is, I spoke about it on my last video, and I'm going to go into a little deeper on my next video. You are going to find a lot of cards that currently are in the format actually do some work in the Zenkai energy. Like Android 17 and 18, those that Unison, that's a Zenkai energy engine on its own. Every single turn, you'll just be like, okay, well, you attacked or I attacked, cool. I get one more Zenkai energy. So that card, I fully expect that card to be a staple in blue decks, unless you specifically need to play another Unison. U7 Gohan, also the same thing. It's going to be a little different though, because if you use your only vanilla with the Frieza Unison to go into Zenkai energy, you are going to need to hit a Zenkai battle card, or maybe in the future some sort of Zenkai leader awakening, to put that Zenkai energy back in your grave, because you don't want to just put it in a like set where you're gonna, or put it in a zone where you're never gonna be able to use that normal again. So there's gonna be some weird economy things with it, but yeah, it's gonna be a different game. Like by the time we hit nationals, one thing that a lot of people aren't quite getting is that we are getting Zenkai Series 1, but Zenkai Series 2 should be coming out right before nationals, and I hate when a brand new set comes out right before the biggest tournament of the year. But we're gonna be looking at a completely different game. Like, it is really weird right now. That is why I was comfortable knowing that I'm not going to Otakon, knowing that I'm not going to Gen Con. I am comfortable right now relaxing a little bit and waiting until I see more spoilers. But even when we get the full set knowledge for Zenkai Series 1, I have to know that this is not what I'm practicing for Nats, because Zenkai Series 2 is about to come out too. So there's a lot. The game's gonna be completely different. Ethan says, sorry to clarify, Kai needs a reprint for countries like New Zealand that don't get events. I can see that. It's just also time versus relevance is a thing too. If you notice these reprints, Hatch is the only one that came from the Unison Warrior block. And I don't think they would have put Hatch in there if Hatch wasn't the de facto secret rare for blue. Like, it's color defining. If Hatch wasn't that, I think all 3 of them would have come from multi-color block or earlier. I don't think that they would have put something as recent. Kai is pretty recent, so not only can you still potentially buy boxes easily that have Kai in it, but again, it's being reprinted. So if you want to shell out the 300, you could find a reprint fest Kai. What's the normal Kai at right now? Hold up. Let me see Time Space Unraveler.
Like 230, 250.
Yeah, because the card still got gas, but it's not in every. Seeker. Yeah. Oh, nasty. Yeah, it's 225. So yeah, he's right. So it's like it's still just a general secret rare. Like, unfortunately, I don't mean to be that dude, but if you know you're gonna be playing competitively, and you know you have a card like Kai that's gonna fit into a bunch of decks and gonna go in and out of the format depending on how the format is set up, you might as well just like bite the bullet. The card's gonna get mileage. This card is never going to be bad. It's just going to be slightly better or slightly worse. Sometimes even better. Like, imagine if GT was the best deck in the game. Kai would be de facto the best SCR in the game. It's just how it is. Let's see. Only chance Oceania had to get the Fest reprint was at one Fest. That is true. I think Bandai is trying to work on getting more stuff happening in different regions. I know Europe is kind of hard because of Brexit. Not going to get into all that, but they were putting a lot of events before in England, and now that is not quite the same option. New Zealand is also a little weird. Yeah, I'm trying to see what they're doing. BR1718 is busted indeed. Yup says any card with an auto that combos, like old Demigra Chain. Yep. Charge your opponent's cards and you charge your opponent's cards. That would be weird. I do forget that you can combo your opponent's cards. We'll have to ask Fash. Ask Daddy Fash about that. He'll sort that out. Like, I don't know if you have any insight on that, Eddie, but if you're using your opponent's cards to combo, like, do you think
it's gonna be? I could almost guarantee it's gonna be your opponent's choice, because it's not going to your drop area; it's going to their drop area. Because that choice takes place right before those cards go to your drop area. You see what I'm saying? So by the time it leaves your combo area, it's going back to the original. It's like the whole thing where if you know how they swap their ruling with lineage. If you take something, who's gonna get to draw first in? It's the original person, because when it leaves the board, yes, it starts on one side, but when it goes to the drop, it goes back to the original owner. If that makes sense. But yeah, he'll clarify. There's a lot of stuff's gonna get clarified by him, so you guys will see pretty soon.
I think it do. That makes sense. Let's see. Sure thing. It's like, so the thing for this example is a new Roshi leader free playing those weenies for easy sack targets for the Bardock Unison. Yep. You can go into that dual crit Krillin. Yep. If you're running Green Hero in there too, your opponent's not going to have enough hand to keep energy. I think that is true, but if we're looking at this, Bandai generally likes to make mechanics that are supported by the new set. So I'm not going to be surprised. Like, look at these reboot leaders, how on the back, almost every one of them says something about comboing just for free from your drop. So I really don't think that hand will be too much of an issue. You should be able to combo just a little bit. And by all means, like, some of these cards say put the card back in your opponent's hand. If I pull a card out of my grave for my drop and you want to put it back in my hand, by all means. Like, by all means, like, resolve that effect. I will take that +1. Like, that is okay for me. Yeah, but we're gonna see. By the way, he's like, by the way, I see it now. People doing that lame poke swing pass strategy falls behind the Z energy. I can see that. See, the old Demigra Chain takes cards from your opponent's hand and combos them. Yeah, but that's what we're talking about. I think it does matter where it's going, because
because it's gonna go back to your opponent. Like, if you take if you're player B and you're comboing cards from player A's hand, when you're done comboing them, you're not going to go in player B's drop. You're going to go in player A's drop, which player A is going to get to decide whether it goes in his drop, his or her drop, or his or her Z energy. That's how it's going to be ruled, but like I said, Bash will clear all that up for you guys. But that one for me is simple, but like he'll clear out for you guys.
I'm seeing you right now. You said, Vasquez, thank you for arriving. I'm glad you're here. You said Broly 6 drop, gonna say no to no. I'm gonna say no Z energy for you. That's very much so possible. There is oh, Half Eaten Kraken. All right, yo, thanks for showing up, and yeah, just listen to everything tomorrow. It's gonna be up there, and thank you for showing up again. But yeah, no, like, this is about to be crazy. It's really weird because I was not here for the change from set 9 to set 10. I took a break from playing the game from set 6, and I came back on set 11. So I didn't see how the Unison Warrior block revolutionized the game.
You mean a surge format, huh? Ah, dang.
I did. I was dumb, guys. Like, look, do what you need to do for your personal life, but I thought that giving up all of my hobbies would make a significant other more happy, and then she just started asking for me to give up more stuff. So, back to the game, and it's cool. Like, see, this same significant other, I did not get higher than top 8 for at Otakon. I can't believe it. Misplays. Sometimes the misplays happen before you even sit at the table, before you even sleeve up. But no, really, like, I did miss a whole lot of stuff, and it was a lot to catch up on. But I was not around to see the game take its like first skyrocket into a new type of existence. And I think that it's going to be really cool for me to experience this Zenkai format, because it seems like the game is going to change for the better, in my opinion. Now, this is kind of weird because from a design space, I think Ultimate Squad definitely showed it a lot more, in the sense that we used to have boss cards that once you put them on the board, they were hard to remove, hard to deal with. When Dragon Ball Super first started, we didn't have a lot of point and clicks. That's why the Gohan TP was so amazing, because he was one of the only cards you could just tap energy and go, that guy, he dies. But the way they're crafting boss monsters right now, they come on the board, they have a come into play effect, they sometimes have an on swing effect, but their protection is mostly deflect. Sometimes they have effect replacements on your turn, but the thing I've been seeing about that is what Bandai has been kind of gravitating towards is your boss monsters do the most work the first turn they are played. And after that, they are open to half the removal under the sun. And then on top of that, we just got the Realm of the Gods cards. So there's no excuse. If a 30k stays on your opponent's field for 3 turns, your deck is just not built optimally. So, like, that seems to be one of the things. They don't want these almighty, like, brick houses sitting on the board, ruining the games for turns and turns and turns and turns. And so I do trust the way the Zenkai format is going, that the investment versus the payoff is going to be something good. Also, just looking at cards like that SS4 Goku that goes in the Pan deck, they don't want people complaining about time anymore. Like, they don't want people complaining about, like, that dude comes down and being played in Pan with that ape that I don't think we've seen yet going under Goku. He becomes between Pan's effect and his own effects, he becomes a 30k deflect barrier dual attack double strike who burns you for 1 if you are at 4 life or more. They don't want nobody talking crap about going in time anymore. Like, they're just like, if you're slow, you're just slow. So I'm kind of looking forward to it. I would like to be in a space where we can have best of 1 tournaments that are fun, but I think best of 3 is just better. So if we get into a space where the games are ending closer to turn 4, turn 5, or at least turns 1, 2, 3, and 4 are much faster, I'm not mad at that at all, really. Oh, see ya, Beer. See ya. But yeah, I'm definitely not mad about that. You said you'll leave me with a simple question. What cards would you like to see in Mythic Booster 2? I'm not going to lie, Half-Eaten Kraken. I don't think Mythic Booster 2 is coming for a very long time. They reprinted so many cards in Mythic Booster 1. Like, we had Bardock fighting against Fate and Gogeta thwarting the Dark Empire Super Saiyan 3 in Mythic Booster. That means that Mythic Booster had to choose from set 1 to, like, what, set 15? Like, yeah, it's gonna be a hot minute before we get a Mythic Booster 2, I think. There's just not enough cards to reprint, in my opinion. But, yeah. Before talking a little bit about the new direction, did you have any topics you wanted to dive into, Eddie, real quick?
You guys have any questions for us? My bad. I'm like sitting here building my deck for Otakon. But yeah, you guys have any questions for us, man? So I have a little last minute text I want to put in. Now it's ask your question now while you have us, or forever hold your peace.
This is
free
facts.
Answers for you guys. There's no Patreon. It's right here. It's free, man.
Yeah, I'm not bold enough to Patreon. Like, I'm not gonna front. Like, sometimes you guys are getting Discord responses 3 days late. Like, I can't.
But it's free.
I can't, with good conscience, make a Patreon and then expect people to pay for it right now. I'm not that consistent. Well, in that case, I will say, because we are at 10:16, the stream is a little shorter than it normally is, but we had a lot of stuff. Pac-Man, he actually said, like, we were talking about that earlier. It's kind of at the beginning of the stream. I mean, Jiren has a really good matchup versus Trunks, but not so good of a matchup versus Gamma, and that's a little bit too volatile to go into a big tournament for.
Literally 2 top decks you'll be seeing. In my opinion, the best deck in the format is Gamma, even though I don't want to admit it because I play Trunks. It's just the fact that I have to put main deck text just for Gamma just shows you that it's better. And then after that, right underneath, not by that much, but right underneath it is Trunks. And then it's U7 Goku. U7 Goku is nowhere to be found for some reason, which I don't know. But in my opinion, those are the top 3 decks in format. Now there's other decks that can also compete with those top 3 decks, but the top 3 rounded decks are those, in my opinion. But yeah, Gamma is just that's too strong, bro. I'm not gonna. The fact, like, if I'm playing Gamma, I'm not really. Yes, I understand that I'm gonna see mirror match. Like, I would have more text in my deck for the mirror match than I do for Trunks. That's the only reason why I put Gamma above Trunks. Because if you have to text something for a deck that interrupts your gameplay, yeah, that deck is better than your deck. But it's okay because we test.
Nah, not wrong.
I mean,
you
play Gamma. You play Gamma. How many deck texts do you have for the mirror match versus Trunks? Like, versus how many do you have for Trunks? You see what I'm saying?
I mean, for the most part, yeah, I don't even mind because I just went through the video. Like, I only play the 15 counter because of the mirror. I want to get you into positions where you go, oh yeah, tap 2 for Topo, and I'm just like, all right, tap 2 to bust that ass. Like, and that's that. Like, yes, I main deck hate for the mirror. Trunks is already kind of slotted in. I was already gonna play Let the Battle Begins. I was already gonna play certain cards. So yeah, you're not wrong. Gamma is the one that I was trying to pay attention to.
Your main board naturally answers those other good decks. That's the definition to me of a deck's better than something else. So.
I feel that. Chris, you said that the SS4 Goku is on the precipice of being broken. I think it's a very, very strong card. I think there's a whole lot of text. I think it being leader locked to pan to get its burn effect and its other effect. I think that the fact that you have to have that whatever, I think it's SS4 Sun Goku Ape Aggressor or whatever, you have to have it in the drop to then absorb into the card or put under the card. I think it has a fair amount of hoops to jump through, but the biggest thing for me is that I think some of the most dangerous cards in the game have either busted come into play effects or they have effects that activate during battle. And I think the fact that you have to invest the energy, the Zenkai energy, the card from your drop, and that all has to happen in your main phase, it's linear. So I think the deck is very, 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 or that card is very, very strong on its own. I just think that the fact that you can look at that card and hold up like a blocker negate, I think that's what kind of makes it not broken. Now, granted, it's red, so that blocker negate could get Yamcha'd. That blocker negate could get packed up. But I think that if the format just needs to shift to having more hard negates instead of just being like, oh, I'll let that through or I'll soft combo above it, that's not necessarily going to like make the card broken. That's just going to shift how we build decks. So I think that card, the Goku, is very, very, very strong. But I don't know yet about broken. I think he's very, like, he presents himself. And if your deck is built correctly, you're just going to have to neg in hand. You just can't be sitting here tapping out past their turn 3 or 4 knowing they can land that Goku and potentially drop you 5 life if you're stupid. That's how I feel. But I could be wrong. You got Black Slime that says, yo, tell Eddie I said what's up. Yo, I mean, Eddie can read. Eddie can see that himself.
What's up, man? And don't forget, guys, it's like I told you when I said do your homework, and that's why I don't get excited too early until I see the entire the premise of the concept, because burn damage can be answered in this game. If I'm not mistaken, red, I know yellow has one. I know for a fact red has one because I have one in my Jiren deck. Green, I believe, has one as well. They have anti-burn cards. It's like, okay, burn a life, that top card in my deck, unless I'm at 1 life, it's gonna go right back to my life. So it's like, if it ever gets to a point where that's deep deck, there are cards that already answer stuff like that. So don't be too caught up in that hype.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. We're gonna be in a lot of spoilers, and now that I like from a different perspective, I was kind of on that like, okay, well, I'm not playing these tournaments, so I don't care. But no, Eddie's right. Do not fall into that trap. If you're going to Otakon, if you're going to your store championships, you still need to be in this format. Be happy for these cards, but still test this format so that you can make sure that you are going to nationals, where this new format will be in full effect. But yeah, that's actually pretty much that. I did not put up a little thing for questions today. That was my bad. I'll do that next week. But I think this is a good time to wrap it up. We're almost at 1 hour and 30 for the stream, and I gotta do stuff. I got a couple more errands to run. I gotta record tomorrow's video. I gotta work out. There's just stuff to be done. Work-life balance, you know. So I want to say thank you for coming on the stream. It was like so impromptu, and I'm glad it like actually just worked really, really well. If you wanted to plug anything from like your channels or anything like that, just do so now, my guy.
No, yeah, you guys could. I'm gonna drop my deck list probably tomorrow. I'll post it on the main group. Yeah, sorry, I've been kind of super off task in posting videos because I moved to Maryland. It was just everything everywhere. But I'll post the deck list tomorrow. I'm going to probably make the top 8 video thing tonight because I'm looking at it right now. Like I said, I'm always doing homework on this, man. Like I live for Dragon Ball. So if you guys want to see any of that, just stay tuned and I'll post in the main group.
Sweet. And yeah, I'm gonna get the links from him to make sure that I have his channel in the description for this particular cast. Thank you guys for showing up, and yeah, we'll be back here next Monday unless something's really weird. Like the only times I will not go live on Monday, obviously extenuating circumstances. If I feel like the game is a little bit dead for the week in terms of news, I'm not gonna sit here and try to flap gums for an hour just to put time on the clock. I'm just gonna be like, yo, I'll see you next week after stuff actually happens. Question, yep, DBSCG says, what are your 2 favorite decks right now? I will ask you, what are your 2 favorite decks?
Oh, perfect, because I only have 2 decks. Trunks, set 17, or set 16 Trunks, and set 17 Goku. Yellow Goku, not red. There's only yellow Goku, yeah. The Unison. I'm gonna bust it out, don't worry. It's gonna be soon. I just have to, the reason why I love that deck is like the top 2 decks, in my opinion, which is Trunks and Gamma. Oh, you it obliterates those decks. But I have to still work out the kinks against BS Rogue because stuff like, let's say if you go against an AOD, which I went against a lot this past weekend, it's gonna be problematic. Some people will not let that deck die. But yeah, I just gotta work on the on the Rogue variants that I have to just kink out. But yeah, right now I could tell you, if you were to pick a deck, and it's not even cheap. I mean, it's not even expensive. It's a really cheap deck to build. I would highly recommend you guys play it. I don't want to just give away the answers for a test, but I will tell you this: a lot of stuff, a lot of BS that's going on with U7. Just both U7, Goku, Gamma, and Trunks. That Goku leader just says, "Okay, cool story," but it's not gonna do nothing to me. So check that deck out, man. Those are my 2 decks: Trunks and set 17 Goku.
Fair. You guys already know that I am a Gamma main. I definitely think Gamma is really cool. Past Gamma, it actually is very hard because I've been testing. I like testing the other decks when I'm actually grinding. I like testing the other decks not because I want to play them, just because I want to see what these hands look like from the inside. I want to know what tells there are to like a weaker deck. A weaker hand. Like I want to know. When a play happens and I'm looking at you going, that play's weird, chances are if I knew how to play the deck, I'd understand why that play was made. So when it comes to that, I don't really have a lot of other favorite decks in the format. I don't like Sin. I think Sin has a foreseeable end game, and yes, you can play Sin as like a low to the ground, mid-range, or control, but I think that once you play against Sin enough, you can kind of know how to stack up against those. I don't like U7 mainly just because I don't like how linear it feels to me. It's really hard for me to pick the second deck. I won't even hold you on that one. If I had to choose, it would probably be Trunks Vegeta, but really Trunks Vegeta is just the best vehicle for Yellow right now. I think Yellow has so many strong assets. There's no reason why Swift Retaliation Cooler should still be in the game. There's a bunch of cards in Yellow that probably are just a little overtuned, and I think that Trunks Vegeta is the best deck to fill those to carry those cards. So I think yeah, it's probably from Gamma and Trunks Vegeta right now. But
you guys probably didn't realize, I know we're about to leave, Chris just gave you guys like free chicken, bro. Like before he answered that question, when he told you guys about playing other decks, to not actually try to master them, but just understand the process of how the deck works. It's so much. Like if you're struggling against Gamma, it's probably because you never actually sleeved up Gamma, not in real life, like on untap or something, to play it and understand, okay, cool, they do this. Like that's probably why people aren't running Quetzal cards, because they probably never sat there and realized that, hey, I'm pitching 2 cards, but now my hand size is what, max 6 to 8 cards. I have to pitch 4 cards for this. Oh no, I'm just gonna defend the Toxic instead, bro. Like Chris gave you guys a real gem on that last answer, so really hope you guys paid attention to that one.
Yeah,
really good.
Like I don't want to just like completely go over what a whole video is about, but real talk, if you're struggling with Gamma, I have 2 tips for you. and I'm not going to go into them. I'm just going to give you those 2 tips, and if you want me to go into them, go check out the video. Run that floodgate hate. That's 1. 2, anytime you want to make meaningful pokes, if your deck can handle it, combo to 25k. I guarantee you, if you combo to 25k, at very best, I go -1, and that's for Realm of the Gods to go up to 25k and a 5k to then stop that attack. At very worst, I have to -3 if that damage is crucial. Gamma does not draw enough cards to sustain that line of play for too many turns. If you start hitting me with times where you stop my floodgate and your next swing is 25k, I guarantee you 3 turns of that and I will be sitting at the pettiest looking hand ever. And I will be fully reliant on how many apes I've seen in the game to keep me in a healthy standpoint. That's like a 2-step formula, because Gamma doesn't really accrue lots of cards. You need to be able to put your opponent off. And the way I know I personally built the deck, it was to make sure that if I can help it, I'm either floodgating you or I'm cantripping you. I am not plussing, I'm floating my hand. And that can get a little rough. That's the only reason why the monkeys are in there. I get low on hand. They need to go up. And before anybody tells me that hit unison is the way, like, look, that's cap. I'm just saying, that's cap.
You can't swing twice for 25 to the dome. That's a super combo +1 on each attack. Like, I don't think you understand that.
When I see people say hit unison, I'm like, bro, if you play a hit unison versus any deck, that unison is not living the turn. Do you know how easy it is to put 3 damage on a 15k? Like 16 or 17, 18, they do have around the same amount of markers, but the difference is if you know I'm going up to 3, and then on your turn it's going up to 4, you now know you have to commit at least 4 attacks, provided I don't have a negate, to get my unison off the field. That's too much. That's almost a baby hatch. That's a baby hatch on the turn you tried to kill my unison. That's not Gucci.
That's one of the 2 points I always bring up when people ask me. Ask me this a lot. Hey Eddie, hit or 17, 18? I'm like, all right. Chris said the first one. I can one-shot the hit unison. Like, I swing with my leader, and I'm playing Trunks. With anything else, I just drop a double strike. That thing is done. 17, the best way to put it, you say, yeah, but hit draws like on your turn, right? The best way I put 17 and 18, it draws on your turn and your opponent's turn, because that first swing is always going to be 20. And if you really don't deal with it, like literally, it's going to start off with 4, right? Because by the time it gets to your turn, you swing, it's at 4 markers. If you do not deal with that, understand, as soon as you pass your turn, they have the choice of literally swinging at you twice with a unison that says, give me 2 super combos +1, or just take 2 damage to the dome. That's the best way I put it, bro.
Literally playing against the mirror, that was one of the stupidest things ever. On 4 energy, they were on 3 energy, they get their untap. I swung just with a 17, and he goes topo, because he saw the setup. My unison had the markers on it, my leader had it, and I also kind of wanted to bait. So on 4 energy, I tapped 2 to play my dual androids. He hit me with the 14, I tapped my other 2 for the 15, and then he proceeded to have to take a 15 swing from my leader, 2 20k swings from my dual droids, and a -4 from my android unison. And that is 6 attacks, dude. That is 6 attacks after you just got your topo stuffed and went -2. So yeah, hit unison wasn't providing that same amount of pressure. It's just, look, I'm sorry, I don't mean to put it on anybody that's being played the hit unison, but it's just,
I mean, by all means, if you want to play hit unison, I'm not gonna stop. Go ahead. By all means, please help me help you.
I was like, I'm not gonna stop you. In fact, get paired. Get paired with me.
I'm not gonna lie to you and recommend it to you. But if you want to play hit unison, I'm personally not gonna stop you. I'm gonna applaud you, and I'm gonna continue to shake your hand when I one shot that thing. And I'm like, yes. Not only did I take out, because what you don't realize is, not only did I take out your hit unison, I also took out your Android 18s. I don't have to worry about anything, dude. Unless you're gonna tap 2 again next turn, I'm free. The only thing I have to worry about is the Android 14s. Like I said, by all means, if you wanna just say prove me wrong, put it in your deck and prove me wrong. I'm not gonna stop you, man.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna be honest as well, man. It's not, the comparison isn't even close, man.
Yeah, nothing feels worse than being time walked in this game. Nothing feels worse than playing 2, 3, 4 energy and then feeling like you did absolutely nothing with it. And my question is, if you wouldn't play 2 energy to remove an ape and draw 2, would you play 2 energy to +1 and draw 1? Because essentially, playing hit, in its worst case scenario, you were drawing 1 and you were turning it sideways for 15k. and then it could be gone. And a lot of decks is
next
gone.
turn.
U7, Gamma, GT, even Trunks Vegeta. It could very well not survive your next turn.
One shot that thing. I'm not gonna play anything. I'll make sure the 18's dead. If I have a 1-drop on board, my leader, I'm just gonna swing 15k. You're gonna take it. I'm gonna drop a double strike on it and give you whatever one cut is in my hand. Just take it off to turn off your 18 and your units. It's not gonna be bode well for you. That's why I said if you want to play it, I'm not gonna stop you. I'll welcome it. To make my life easier, dude. Because I don't feel like dealing with a 20k unit set. Because now I actually have to give. Not only are you getting a free combo, but I have to give you one too. I'm like, this is so nag.
It is. Like it is really neg. You want to pressure and you have just the right amount of attacks, and oops, there's an extra 5k you didn't account for because, well, you have to literally throw a attack into the Unison. And some decks do this better than others. Some people are like, oh yeah, this Vegeta 1-drop is going to turn sideways, and you're like, all right, fair. But like, some decks can't. They're just like, I have 3 valid attacks, and one of them is automatically wasted. So it is what it is. But Black Sun, you were right. 17 and 18 are really going to help up build Z Energy. Thank you guys for showing up. Like I said, make sure you subscribe to UniX DBS. Make sure you subscribe to FOE. I'm going to put everything in the comments if you want to, or in the description. If you want to help me out personally, I have a Dragon Ball gaming channel you can go subscribe to. And yeah, that's pretty much going to be it from there. Oh yeah, and also PPG. I have a link in the description that you can go to. They track that stuff. If you want to pre-order One Piece, you want to buy Dragon Ball, you want to buy Digimon, go through there. Help a bro out. And yeah, thank you guys for showing up.
Take it easy, guys.